Matt Rhule explained his in-state recruiting approach. And, the last couple of years, we've seen Nebraska take as many in-state players as they've ever taken in modern day history. And if you're being blunt and honest, it hasn't worked very well. A lot of guys have already left and moved on. It just hasn't worked. Well, now this year, fast forward to what's going to be the class of 2026. There are 3 standing offers out in the state right now. One of those 3, Isaac Jensen, is not going to visit Nebraska on an official. So you're looking at Jace Reynolds, a linebacker from Elkhorn North, and then Darian Jones, the younger brother of Donovan Jones, as the 2 kind of active in-state offers, where meanwhile you're seeing some teams, particularly Iowa State, who, could end up with 7, 8, 9 commits.
They've offered how many?
Close to 10.
And they've got 5. They have 5 Nebraska players, in-state Nebraska high school players in their class of 2026
already.
5. Ty Chapman, I think, is the latest one. He's a safety from Lincoln North Star. He committed, I want to say, last week. And he was the 5th. They have 5 in their class. So what's Iowa State doing, Sean? What are they doing?
I don't really understand, because, it tells me that they're obviously not going to do like taking the portal and trying to build that way, because it's very expensive to take free agents. It's almost like they're signing rookies at undrafted free agent type deals in NIL and going to build it that way.
Build it.
And that's how they've done it. But like Matt Rhule was trying to be respectful, but he said, look, it's the Big 12 and the Big 10 are completely different leagues. And I know a lot of Big 12 fans don't want to hear that, but that's the reality.
And so he can't, and I don't expect Matt Rhule to be overly, he shouldn't have to be overly concerned about a team like Iowa State coming in, or whoever coming in and offering Nebraska kids when they're sophomores, right? That Nebraska, we would play this game in the media, right, Sean, where, Nebraska wasn't the first to offer that kid. Why not? Why does that kid have an offer from school X but not Nebraska? I am very supportive. Okay, now this can get kind of heated, but Rhule's approach, as he outlined on Thursday, makes a lot of sense to me because of what he said. We have to topple Ohio State. If we now this is where you got to be delicate with the conversation. You have to be very choosy about who you pick, and you can't get into this pattern of trying to appease a lot of people in Nebraska, right?
A lot of people have tried, as he said, and they're not here anymore.
You know what I mean by appease? Well, we better take this kid.
This is so-and-so's kid,
right? Or this powerful coach's player that we better appease. Okay, now that's harsh, but we're in a new world now. How many high school kids is Nebraska going to sign this year, do you think?
15,
which is down from how many in traditional years?
20 plus.
20 plus.
25.
You have to be more picky now.
And you're not taking walk-ons.
Mm-hmm. And what I loved about what he said is, because I say it on our show all the time, is you can't take your eye off the ball, which is these superpowers, these giants. Oh, don't you want Nebraska to be a giant? Isn't that what we're after here? You want Nebraska to be Ohio State.
And you're going to get somebody snarking right now, oh, you're far. Well, I mean, they did play with Ohio State within like a field goal this year. It's
not that far away.
I mean, I get it. They were 7-win team last year, but you can't ignore like, hey, Nebraska, they played Ohio State as close as anybody did almost all year.
Right. And Rhule's not here to finish in the middle of the pack, right? He's not here to finish 8th in the Big Ten.
Well, I mean, Indiana is an example of how quickly you can turn a program.
Yeah. Arizona State's an example.
And you can't act like Indiana is light years ahead of Nebraska overall.
No.
They just figured out how to do it, and they got hot.
Right. And again, I know
they had a good schedule to do it as
there's
well.
Always going to be people jabbing and saying, well, don't you remember 56-7? Yeah, I remember 56-7, but Indiana's not that far ahead of Nebraska. That happened that game can get.
Yeah, what would you describe the game in Columbus in the next week?
Right, exactly.
Nebraska was leading 17-14, and they were a defensive stop away in the fourth quarter from walking off Ohio State.
Right, and I don't want to create a situation that's not there. I don't know how fans. I don't know how Nebraska coaches, high school coaches reacted to what Rhule said on Thursday. I thought it was fine. I thought what he laid out made a lot of sense. Come on, Rhule was a walk on himself, and Rhule understands how important high school football is in the state of Nebraska. But there's that other conversation. We know what he has to take down. He has to be choosy about who he takes.
The other thing I'd say about this year's crop of in-state players is, there's probably 15 kids in this state that are Division I level, but there are very few just no-brainers.
Okay.
Jet Tamala, I think you would call a no-brainer, but there's a quarterback already committed to Nebraska with the last name Rhule. So that's just not going to happen. After that, they've seen Amarion Jackson. They didn't offer Landon Von Segren, who's going to Illinois. He's a 6'3" guard. They just didn't have a need for that. They like Darian Jones. Isaac Jensen's a tight end. He can play here, but he's looking elsewhere right now. But Leighton Burback, kind of a project. Caprice Keith didn't come to camp last year, and he's going to Iowa State. Tyrell Chapman, North Star kid. They didn't have much of a read on him. His dad played at Arkansas, so he's almost kind of like a transplant. In the city of Lincoln here. Barry Freeze, like him, he's going to Iowa State, but not a guy that you're just going to in a 15-man class take. Keaton Kaiser from Sidney, Nebraska. Another guy, you're not taking him in a 15-man class.
I hope people understand what we're saying. A 15-man class where there's 15 high school kids, right?
Correct.
And so 15, that's down 10, that's down 12, that's down sometimes more than that. So there's just not as much room now. That's what the college football world has done. It's not something that Matt Rhule decided. He didn't decide that the classes are going to be that small. He's got to work with it.
Yeah, they're at 130 players when you count the players coming in still. There's 7 more that aren't here. But to put numbers in perspective, there are 38 redshirt freshmen and 38 sophomores on this football team.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, those are big numbers now.
I mean, that's 76 players that are redshirt freshmen and sophomores.
Young.
And what's 76 minus 105? There's not a lot of wiggle room.
No.
I mean,
right.
Just to start adding bodies.
No.
Because if you do, you're going to have to take bodies out.
Right. It sort of becomes a mess.